Monogatari! Oh, intro! Holy shit. Fucking hell. Oh, I'm so excited about this. And Ononoki singing it? Holy fuck. They're both singing it! What the fuck? Oh, this is actually really cool. That's a bob. Oh man, so many Nadekos, what the fuck? This reminds me of the first, like, Hachikuchi intro. Ononoki just in the middle being like, oh, leave me alone. Oh, this is amazing. And we have the fucking, what you call, Cat's Cradle, which he was so much into as a god. Caramel ribbon. All this shit. It fits perfectly to the other two intros too. It's more cutesy though. Hey wait, this is almost exclusively cute Nadeko, right? And like her modern self, which... Right, Nadeko draw OP analysis. Let's get this party started, right? You've seen me react to the OP, right? Live first reaction. So let's actually get into this and kind of analyze what's going on right here. Let's say we are maybe going right here for this. If I can actually find a way to... You know what? Never mind. Never mind. Let's reopen this. Opening starts right here, right? Looks good, looking good. Windows sound. I don't know if, I think you should hear that. So let's actually go a little bit into that. I think it's very interesting that we start this with Nadeko actually looking down, having her eyes closed. Or not having her eyes closed, but looking down definitely. And her then suddenly looking up. And we see the Game of Life, which is kind of like a theme going on with her. Because they used to play the Game of Life when she was a kid, right? With Aragi and whatnot. And also later on, we do have her playing the Game of Life with him in Nademonogatari. Quick peek, like we see the Tadatsuru origami, which is really cool because it kind of includes in all of this this idea of like the shrine and what was happening there, as well as Ononoki, of course, who is part of this intro, who is part of all of that going on right here. And we have a like very cheery tone. Interestingly enough, all of the Nadekos we do see are like shy Nadeko, or maybe it's not even. It could also be a flirty Nadeko, but I think it's shy Nadeko. So the interesting thing about this for me is also her eyes, her ears, eyes. No, her hair is green, as it was in the first OP, Nadeko Snake. And we're also kind of mirroring the two OPs that Nadeko had in Medusa and Snake, where we do see her moving in front of the title screen. Interestingly enough, though, we are not making the backward step that we have in OP number 2, like in the Medusa OP. We are slightly going backwards for a second, but then we're turning around and we're not going forward into the future. We're still going into the past, but we are moving, looking in the direction we're actually moving in. It made like this focus on just the Nadeko, like the one version of Nadeko's, kind of makes me wonder if we're gonna see another OP down the line with Nadeko or not. Either way, this kind of reminds me a little bit of the Hachikuchi intro with all the Hachikuchis going around, right? All the same versions of the Hachikuchis helping each other and doing silly stuff. The same goes kind of also for like the tone of the music itself, which kind of sounds a little bit like the intro of like what what we had with Hachikuji. The cool thing is it also kind of mixes in these elements of Orange Mint, which I absolutely love, one of my favorite OPs. And it also features Ononoki singing together with Nadeko. Both of them are singing, which is super cool. And she's like, "What's up? Or what's going on? What's doshtai?" Interestingly enough, she's poking her, right? She's nudging her, which kind of metaphorically can mean like Ononoki nudging Nadeko in a certain direction and making her aware of something. I do wonder, like, we don't have any subs right here. I do wonder if there's actually a version that I have that would be... But I don't think it's translated yet. And she's taking her, like, her chair and moving her in the direction. Circulation. Which I absolutely love that line, and also that breakthrough, right? This is Ononoki opening the door to the world for Nadeko and pulling her along. And we do have the smidges of the door as we open it up. I do love the comic book style of the entire intro, by the way. It's amazing. And we're just running around crazy. The interesting thing is, like, the old Nadeko, right, or the kid Nadekos are kind of taking the current Nadeko along and showing her things like a child would with an adult. And then we're starting with like the children's games, right? This is a lot like what's going on. They're dancing and they're playing kind of children games and whatnot. Right? All of these are kind of like things that you would see children play with one another. I do love the circle of Nadekos, almost Midsummer-esque, right? And they're circling around Ononoki, and Ononoki's like, "Oh my god, just leave me alone. Just leave me the fuck alone." But interestingly enough, right, this is like also, we go from Ononoki closing like her hands in front of her eyes so she can't see, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but we're going over to Nadeko, current Nadeko actually closing her eyes, which could be kind of closing her eyes in front of the issues she still has to solve, closing her eyes in front of her past identities, in front of who aspects of herself that she doesn't like, right? That she wants to kind of wanted to part ways with, or that she doesn't like to look at because they could have abilities and kind of characteristics that she herself wish she would be able to utilize more in her actual current life. And it's interesting how she turns around, but at the same time, like the other Nadekos are kind of dragging her out of that state of closing her eyes to the world. We do have the cat's cradle, right? The cat's cradle was a big thing between Kaiki and Nadeko when she was like in her god mode. The interesting thing is you can get pretty tangled with the cat's cradle, and we're going kind of in like weird tangled hand motions right here. And the interesting thing is also that we're going from current Nadeko doing the hand motions to past Nadeko mimicking the exact same hand motions, right? Continuing the picture, kind of. I don't know what this flower means, right? I mean, I know what the flower, I don't know the name for the flower, but I know the flower. I just don't know what significance it has right here. There's something about like Japanese culture, but also German culture, by the way, about like flying kites, especially on a hillside or something. It's kind of like an activity that's kind of connected to a lot of like early childhood joy, I assume, right? In a way, we could also kind of interpret that as a metaphor. We do have a kite that is flying kind of freely in the air, right? seeing everything from above, but at the same time, it's kind of on a line, so it is restricted in that sense. And going hand in hand with yourself, which is something we, interestingly enough, already had in another intro. Kind of this, you being there for yourself, you kind of going hand in hand with your own like identities and whatnot, with Oikura, interestingly enough, who is actually showing up in this episode. This is a very curious picture, right? In the terms like how it's drawn, and how it like the colors are almost like very, very autumnish. And we do have, again, children's games like the Pocky games, which are kind of like embarrassing, like almost you go like towards like teenage behavior, and her just covering her forehead because of the like the bangs and whatnot. I think these bangs are even cut, so this might be a reference to exactly that moment. And we do have Hopscotch, another children's game. We got juggling, which I guess it's not a children's game, but it's more like an activity. Very cool reference to actually the first meeting of Nadeko and Ogi, and how Ogi influenced Nadeko back in then, right? That's like a recreation of that scene. I do wonder though what Ononoki has to do in that like scenario, because obviously Ononoki was not involved originally. I would say this is a display of like what currently is happening. The problem is like that the Nadeko puppet right here, on Nadeko's left hand, it's not current Nadeko, so it kind of doesn't add up. Yeah. We still have kind of like most of the intros of Nadeko are kind of childishly sung. Very cool flip with the pen. And we're turning the dial on the game of life, and she smiles in response to that. Which is kind of, I guess, her looking with kind of, I guess, almost pride and joy onto herself developing, right? Her getting on in life, making her way towards her own goals, which we had as a theme in this episode. And we do have the heart, we do have the Ononoki head thingy, and we have Nadeko's head, actually. A neat, very, very short intro. The melody fits with the previous OPs, although I think that Renai Circulation and I think it's Muso Express, maybe I'm mispronouncing it, but Muso Express, both of them are actually better in terms of like the music. In terms of like the art, great intro. And we have some very interesting and cool elements, some quirky references and all of that. All in all, I really like this intro, especially as a first intro into like off-season monster season. It feels very much like the intros that we're having right now could be Bake-esque, right? That we have like an intro every 3 or 4 episodes when a new arc is coming around, and this entire off-season and monster season almost feels like it could be a second Bakemonogatari, basically, where we do have different stories out of the perspective of maybe 1 or 2 central focused characters that are, right, that these things revolve around. And we already have 2 of those characters that things kind of revolve around right now. We have an oddity version, which is Ononoki, and we have a half oddity, which is kind of taking like a Nadeko in the sense, right? So there could be others that this revolves around. Kanbaru, for example, is a prime candidate. When Hanamonogatari came around, I had the impression that maybe she was the one to take over for Araragi after he's like going to college and whatnot. But right, I also had the idea that Araragi was gonna take over for Oshino when Bakemonogatari ended, but that wasn't entirely true. I mean, it was partially true, right? But it wasn't entirely 1-to-1 true. So yeah, you know. But yeah, cool intro, cool everything. Really enjoyed it. Like I said, the music wise, it's probably not one of my favorites. I do love that both Ononoki and Nadeko's voice actors are singing it. And it's kind of beat-wise, I think it really fits the other intros of Nadeko, and also the one intro we got for Ononoki, which is in Tsuki Monogatari. But yeah, music-wise, it's not an absolute banger for me. Not like Undead, which is really, really cool as an ED. But it works. And visually, it's really great. So can't wait to see what the next OP is gonna be after that, and how often it's even gonna be used. But yeah, if you do like my analysis and whatnot, leave me a like, subscribe, check out the social links and whatnot, Discord, Patreon, whatever. And I'll see you next time.